Hello, friends and beautiful people. Looking lovely today. I feel like singing. I feel pretty. So today is a work day, hopefully, in the garden, and I'm gonna give you a before and after pic, hopefully, and show you what we've got going on. So here's my focus today. Right here, this little guy. What you can't see is right. Let's see if I can get my little finger out there. Right there. There's a few little tomatoes planted. It doesn't go very far back, probably about that far. And then this whole row over here, oopsie, over here, I've already got some sunflowers and zinnias planted. And then the little green guy down here by himself is the borage. So today the goal is to get the, I'm going to go ahead and plant some peas right there. It's late in the game to be planting peas, but I got frustrated because I lost all my peas when all the rain and the rabbits. And so that's a shady place. We're going to see if we can get anything out of it. And then, let's see if I can get you out there. Well, while I position myself, I'll show you this one a little bit. So there's some of our onions and the carrots that got weeded out. This little spot here hasn't been weeded because this I'm going to amend with some peat and some compost, and then plant some more. But there's my lettuce and some beets, some onions, and then the carrots are down there on the end from that. Over there against the edge of the high tunnel is fennel. I got some more there to plant, but I planted some marigolds down through there. So we're not going to put them there. We'll see what happens, but look at that. It's just awesome. All right, so now you can kind of see out in the other garden. We've got a couple rows of potatoes planted on the far end that you can't see right now. We're going to do one more row of potatoes out there. And then I'm going to go ahead. That's a deer superhighway. We just found out. We've been keeping an eye now that it's been tilled on at the tracks. And it is definitely a place where they like to wander. It wasn't just a one-time deal. And I don't know if you can see right now, there's a bunny out there. Oh no, good, it's a bird. So I'm going to go ahead and plant my tomatoes out there. Probably end up crying, but I'm going to put in those tomato stakes that I showed you at the old farm, and I'll show you later on in today's video that, and hopefully it will deter them, that they'll see it like a fence. So we'll see what happens. You don't know until you try, right? All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, friends, we are back down in the garden rather than being up on the porch. Here is what I've done so far. So I put in these 3 posts, and I just ran a cattle panel across there. And all I did was, I'm not sure how long I'm going to leave this here, because this is our first year gardening here, and we don't know, soils and what's going to grow better where. So all I did today was just zip tie these bad boys in. If I decide that it's going to stay there long term, I'll go ahead and use some fencing wire. But for now, and I did this by myself. I'm so proud of myself. So here's what we did. This one here is a borage. And then I've got peas up against the trellis that are going to go up. So they're about, they're 4 to 6 inches apart. They can be close because they're going up. And then next I have celery. Celery and peas aren't necessarily great buddies, but they don't care about each other. They don't add or take away. So we just went ahead and did some of them here also to take advantage of this little bit of shade we have here. And then here we did some more onions. And I think I told you the fiasco with the onions. My ones from seed were 2 years old, and onion seeds is one of the few seeds that's only good for a year. So we had a little bit of a fiasco there. I ordered some bulbs online from Fedco, and I love Fedco. Hubs didn't know I did it, so he bought me some, and then I found a thing of seeds that I had ordered for this year. So let's just say we have enough onions this year for everybody. So I went, and this is where I'm at right now. I'm going to finish going down through there. You can see that in there gets more light or more sun than this end down here, because the sun's up pretty high now. It's almost right above us. So this will be a great test to see how these peas do one versus the other. And then a derecho came and trimmed the tree. Hubs was gone, so I might have got in there and trimmed it up some. Some of those limbs needed trimmed anyway, because when we were mowing it was miserable. But I wanted to be able to drive these fence posts in, and in order to do that and not hurt myself, I did have to trim a few of those leaves or limbs off. But it looks a lot better. And look, once it dries out down there, I don't know if you can see very well. Once it dries out, we'll have us a nice little bonfire. That's actually in a fire pit beside that little house, so don't worry. All right, I'm going to finish putting the peas and celery and onion in down through here, and then we'll see what other trouble I get in. Okay, friends, it's hot and I'm tired. So let me just recap and show you what we've gotten done. Don't look at me. I need to shower. All right, so I already showed you this. We've got the peas in here, watered in. Then we did our layer of celery, because celery and peas aren't enemies. And then we did onions down through there, because onions and peas really aren't friends. So we've got that all done. You see, I've got some peppers. I'm getting ready to do them. First, I got to fix some lunch, and I'm starting to feel a little lightheaded, and we know we don't want me to get heat stroke. So out here, this is where I told you we've got 2 rows of our tomatoes planted. We still have some more to plant, but it's not a full row like this. So the reason why this looks crooked is because we came over a little wider with the tiller on one side than the other, but I assure you, my husband has made sure, you see his little string there, he's made sure that my little rows are straight, with the exception of some of the trellises kind of teetering a little bit. So there is my weapon of choice. Those are from Grower Solution, and it's called a tomato trellis. Very worth the money. They're I've talked about them before. No affiliation. I do not get paid, but they are sturdy. They're powder coated. Hubs loves them. They don't fall apart. This is year 4 for them. You can't even tell. No rust or anything. So down through here are my Amish paste tomatoes, and usually I wait to stake, but like I was saying with the deer situation, the deer are coming across like in between that fence post and that I call it the super highway down there. That's where they're coming through, and they're going across. It's only 1 or 2, and since we've told this the last time, they have not come through. So hopefully doing this will discourage them from coming at my tomatoes, but we went ahead and put these in the ground and then put the tomatoes in. So in between each one of these trellises, I have planted something. I have done a lot of basil in here, basil. And so what we're thinking about when we're planting all of this is how are we going to deter pests? And what we are concerned about with tomatoes mostly is I get, the hornworm situation and aphids. So we're going to do what we can to get rid of those. Anytime we plant a stinky herb, that is going to hide the scent of your tomatoes from the pests. So that's why we did the basil. And I won't use as much basil as I planted 2 whole seed packets full of basil, and I'll never use that much. What I will do is I'll dehydrate some for winter. I'll share with others. I will do some for seeds, and and of course we'll eat some fresh, because caprese salad is like one of my favorite summer salads. So we came down through here and we did that. We've also got I'll show you. So let me show you here. See how like we're missing one? Well, we went to put the trellis in the ground there, and we moved it a couple different places, could not get one in the ground there. I told Hubs to move on, to just leave me an empty hole. So I put a borage in there. Obviously there's a boulder underneath there, or the city of Atlantis, who knows, and we just don't, it's not worth fighting. Let's just keep on going. We've got things to do. And then down on the end, I planted another borage on this row. I've also got I had some older nasturtium seeds I planted in between some of those. Nasturtiums and tomatoes are awesome. Nasturtiums also attract those things that eat aphids. Then down on this end, I started off with a hyssop, And these are all my San Marzanos. In between these, so on, oops, I'm going to sneeze. On, let's see here if I can get you there. On this end of these, I did the basil. And I did it on the opposite end of the others. And then after I ran out of basil seeds, then I came down through here with some Cosmos. And Cosmos was probably a big mistake because I was generous with the seeds. But they are amazing at getting rid of it. They just attract all those parasites that eat aphids. And we don't know what we're dealing with. We really don't. This is our first year gardening here, so we're going to see. And it's been a while since I've done a lot of in-ground gardening, so it ought to be fun. That little guy there that's smashed down on the ground from being watered is another, not borage. Anyway, hyssop. That's another hyssop. So that's what we've done so far. I still have some Genovese tomatoes to plant, which will probably go down through here. It's not even half a flat. But we like those for salads, and I also like the sweetness of them when I'm making things like tomato juice. So we still got all this to go. And first of all, let me talk to you about starting seeds in the basement under the lights versus starting them in a high tunnel. It was great for germination and not having to worry about things freezing, but I hate it because all of my tomatoes need phosphorus. So I went down through there with rabbit poo on all of them. I'll see if they green up or if they're still purple. If they're still purple, I'm going to have to put, some phosphorus down and get them squared away. But that was disappointing. And they're not as big. They're not bushy. So here's the thing. I went to take my quilt shop orders to the post office. And I drove by the overachieving Amish lady down at the corner whose garden is right up against the road. She's got freaking corn up to my knees. It's not like full on up to my knees, but it's just about there. And I noticed when I would go by that she had sheets over things. She spent her entire month of April out there with sheets and covering things and uncovering things, and God bless her. But she has me feeling like the most incompetent gardener in the planet. And then Hubs came home from tilling the Amish neighbor, that is helping us all the time. He came home from tilling her garden and was telling me about how big and bushy her tomatoes are. And her potatoes look amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I felt like the worst gardener ever, especially since she hasn't gardened for forever at her house. She's always gardened at her mother-in-law's house. And then Hubs had to check me. He's like, babe, she's got 3 sons. She's got a husband, and that's all she does all day. She doesn't work. She is just gardening. And he's right. And I don't know why I'm so worked up. I was worked up. I'm not now. He straightened me out. But I usually was waiting until Memorial Day weekend to plant things. And the reason why is because a couple of times I've gotten burned by going by the Mother's Day is the last frost date, and you end up with losing a bunch of your crop. So I've always tried to play it smart and safe. And this year I was really tempted, but I didn't because frankly, the way that this is going to be laid out, it would have been a logistical nightmare to get everything covered up. So, it is what it is. We're getting there. I am not, so the Amish are out there when they plant their gardens, and my granny was the same way. Mother's Day weekend, we all went to Granny's house. We all helped her plant her garden. That was our gift to her. And in a dream world, yes, but also understanding my space. And I'm a different kind of gardener than most people. I know that. And I'm perfectly content with the way I do it and having to do it alone, I guess. Would it be nice to have all the kids come help? Yeah, it would. Just because of the fellowship and the time together, and I want to feel like I've taught them something. Although every parent wants to feel that way. Hubs wants to feel that way, but we're just not there. Our kids just aren't interested. And and what I appreciate about Hubs is I'm an intentional person. This took me way longer than Hubs would have liked. He would have wanted to just slap and go, slap and go, slap and go. And I was being intentional, like in between each little one. I was making sure that I got whatever it was planted, and then I would move on to plant the next plant. And so what he does is he gives me my space. And it didn't used to be that way. You know, I've told you all the story before about how my mom used to do this, my mom used to do that. And I would say, this isn't your mama's garden. This is my garden. And once you walk through that gate, you don't get to have an opinion anymore, because I don't come into the blacksmith shop or the woodworking shop and tell you how my dad used to do things. So I think after that, we both understood and appreciated the art that it is. And for me, you know, I'm barefoot. My feet are a disgusting mess right now. I'm pretty sure I've got things growing on me. It's about grounding. It's about having my hands in the dirt. And it's just about, I've almost cried here a couple times, because never in my life would I have imagined that I could have something so beautiful and have all of my dreams fulfilled. And this farm has really done that for both of us. And we've sat down and teared up together because we are so happy. And I just wish, you know, I wish this kind of happiness for everyone. You know, we're working our tails off, and you know, this didn't go as fast as it was supposed to. For another reason is because Hubs got pulled away, and so I can't start the next row until he wants to make sure that he puts in the stakes for me to go, so that my rows are straight. We're doing a barn raising here, and we had no idea. I mean, they just kind of sprung it on us. We're coming down, we're doing it. We'll be there Tuesday night to dig the pylons for the timber frames to go up. We'll be there the next day to put on the wood, and the next day we're going to put on the put up the wood, and the next day we're going to put on the metal. And that was that. Oh, and by the way, here's your bill for, you know, and they're just charging us for the materials because we do a lot for them as well. So anyway, to make a long story short, you know, things got in the way, and there we are. So anyway, so one more thing, I'll just give you a little update on what's going on down through here. And potatoes are looking good. There's the sweet potatoes all down through there. If this is the regular potatoes that Hubs planted, then I think I'm going to have to do some more hilling. I don't think it is. I don't think he's gotten the regular ones done yet. Okay, so we'll just call that okay. And then there's his blackberry bushes are doing amazing, and so are his grapes. So we're getting there, friends. And I'll leave you with this. Till next time, be blessed and be a blessing.